Hello friends, this is PP and welcome to Law for All again. In this video we're going to be learning about the concept of mischief that is provided for under the Indian Penal Code 1860. Now mischief has been provided for or rather has been explained, and then further the punishment for which has been prescribed for from section 425 onwards. That is, different kinds of mischiefs are further been classified under this act, and separate punishment has been prescribed for every kind of mischief. Now before I get into the video, as always I would like to point out that I've left some useful links in the description section of this video, so kindly do check them out if you're interested. It helps the channel out. Now mischief is, now let us get into the definition of the word mischief, or rather the term mischief under the Indian Penal Code. Whoever with the intent to cause or knowing that he is likely to cause wrongful loss or damage to the public or to any person causes the destruction of any property or any such change in any property or in situation thereof as destroys or diminishes its value or utility or affects it injuriously commits mischief. Now essentially what I would like to find out is, mischief is an act of wrongful loss or causing any damage to property which is either public or private in general. Now by public property I mean a property that is sort of held by an organization or a body conglomerate in general. Public property does not necessarily have to be the property that belongs to the government. Of course the property that belongs to the government is also covered under the ambit of this particular provision, but the property that belongs to the public could also mean property that belongs to sort of a public authority or an organization which is run by public in general, like say that of a village panchayat. Now if a person intentionally causes any damage to that property, then that person will be subject to be punished under this provision. Now again the concept of mens rea comes into the picture here. For any person to commit an offense, he has to have a guilty mind. If there is no guilty mind, if there is no intention to commit an offense, then it would not be then a person cannot be punished. So therefore, if say a person is driving his car on the street, and if accidentally he goes and bangs onto another vehicle, then it cannot be said to be an act of mischief, because it is purely an act of accident. It is not intentional. The person has to have an intention to cause loss or wrong or any damage to any property that is held by any third person, and only then will an offense be caused. Now this section will also cover intentional loss or damage to say property. That is, if in case say I have parked my car on the street, and if some person with malified intent comes and say damages my windshield or punctures my tire, then in that case it would amount to be a mischief under the Indian Penal Code. The general perception sometimes is that if loss to property is caused, then that person will have to avail civil remedies, that he will have to file a suit against that person and recover the amount from that person. But that is not the case if the causing damage to a person's private property also amounts to be an offense under the Indian Penal Code, and that has been provided for under this particular section, that is mischief. Now let us go further. Explanation 1. It is not essential to the offense of mischief that the offender should intend to cause loss or damage to the owner of the property injured or destroyed. It is sufficient that he intends to cause or knows that is likely to cause wrongful loss or damage to any person by injuring any property, whether it belongs to that person or not. Now again, it is if the first part of this explanation provides that it is not necessary that the person should intend to cause loss or damage to the owner of the property injured or destroyed, but it further clarifies that it is sufficient that he intends to cause or knows that he is likely to cause wrongful loss or damage. So therefore, even if he commits such an act whereby he knows that wrongful loss will be caused to some third party, then in that case it would amount to an offense. That is, it is not that I have to purposely only damage somebody else's property. Say if I have on my property, if I have some sort of, say, a small dam, a bandh sort of for channeling water into my fields, and if I say make some alteration to that bandh for my own benefit, all the while knowing that it might cause an overflow of water to the property adjacent to me, thereby causing wrongful loss or damage to that person. So if I commit such an act, even then in that case it would amount to an offense. That is essentially what this explanation 1 says. Explanation 2 further provides that mischief may be committed by an act affecting property belonging to the person who commits the act, or to that person and others jointly. So mischief is not necessarily required to be committed as against a private person or only one person. It could be also committed as against other persons which are holding the property jointly. Now let us delve into some of the illustrations that have been given under the act itself. A voluntarily burns a valuable security belonging to Z, intending to cause wrongful loss to Z. A is committed mischief. So that is what that's fairly simple. Now let us go to say the last one. A causes cattle to enter upon a field belonging to Z, intending to cause or knowing that is likely to cause damage to Z's crops. A is committed again mischief, so therefore he is doing it for his benefit. He wants to graze his cattle, and therefore he purposely he wants the benefit of his cattle being grazed. So therefore, although he knows that he is going to benefit out of the act, but he also realizes that the other person Z's crops are going to be destroyed. So but in spite of which he does this, so therefore that would amount to an act of mischief. Now punishment for mischief. Whoever commits mischief shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 3 months or fine or with both. Again 3 months or fine or with both. So therefore in mischief, when criminal proceedings proceed, when the final judgment is about to be pronounced, the court can consider the amount of loss that is being caused to the opposite party, and so therefore in addition to incarceration, the court can also award or direct that a specific amount be paid to the complainant or the person injured with respect to the loss that has been caused to him. So therefore it sort of acts both as a civil as well as a criminal remedy. Of course that would depend upon the discretion exercised by the court. Now of course, and it would be left to the prosecution to make a specific prayer as regards that. Now mischief causing damage to the amount of 50 rupees. Whoever commits mischief thereby causes loss or damage to the amount of 50 rupees or afford shall be punished with imprisonment of either description over a term which may extend to 2 years or fine or both. So therefore these provisions were made way back when. So therefore 50 rupees then was nothing, then was a lot, and now it is not such a huge amount. So but this amendment to the specific provision was never carried out. So a strict interpretation of this present provision would mean any sort of nuisance would be punishable which may extend to 2 years altogether or fine or both, because nothing is less than 50 rupees nowadays. Mischief by killing or maiming animal of the value of 10 rupees. Whoever commits mischief by killing, poisoning, maiming or rendering useless any animal or animals to the value of 10 rupees or upwards shall be punishable with imprisonment to which description may be extended to 2 years of fine or both. So again no need for explanation. Mischief by killing, maiming cattle or any value of animal of the value of 50 rupees. So this is as regards maiming of animals, and the description which extends to 5 years, because these properties way back when these provisions were enacted, that is a camel, horse, mule, buffalo, bull, ox, cow, were considered to be valuable. So therefore the punishment for such acts is a little more. Of course this is in addition to other offences that the person will be subject to, that is Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act also, because causing injury to any animal is also an offence. So this is in addition to those offences. Now mischief by injury to works of irrigation or by wrongfully diverting water. Now again this is a special kind of mischief that has been provided for, and punishment for which is also extended to 5 years with fine or both. So because irrigation is important, irrigation gained a lot of sort of value then when these provisions were enacted. Now mischief by injury to public road, bridge, river and channel. Again this is also punishable with an imprisonment which can extend to 5 years or fine or with both. Mischief causing inundation or obstruction to public drainage attended with damage. So again another kind of mischief, extended up to 5 years of fine or with both. Mischief by destroying, moving or rendering less useful a lighthouse or a sea mark. So even for a lighthouse or a sea mark there was a specific provision made with regards to mischief, because lighthouses or sea marks were not sort of manned. They were not public properties which were taken care of, but they were not constantly monitored by the government, but they served as very important public properties, because a lighthouse or a sea mark is necessary for the purpose of navigation. So therefore a specific provision as regards punishment of that has also been provided. Now mischief by destroying or moving a landmark fixed by a public authority. Punishment to which again is 1 year with fine or imprisonment or both. Mischief by fire or explosive substance with an intent to cause damage to amount of 100. So if you use fire explosives or substances, like say a small bomb or something of that sort, then it extends all the way to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine, because it is certainly a very severe offense. A mischief by fire or explosive substance with intent to destroy house. So therefore again this has an intention. So if the intention to destroy the house is proved, then it may even extend to 10 years altogether and shall be liable to fine. A mischief with intent to destroy or make unsafe a decked vessel or one of 20 tons burden, again extended to 10 years and shall also be liable to fine. Punishment for mischief described in section 437 committed by fire or explosive substance. So if you commit this act, that is if you damage a vessel by using explosive substance, then it is 10 years and it shall also be liable to fine, although it is the same as that of this one. The punishment for both such acts is the same and it is not aggravated. Now punishment for intentionally running vessels aground or ashore with the intent to commit theft, etc. Now this act in itself would be very adventurous, to intentionally run aground ashore, that is sort of to make it sink, or rather force it to be run aground for the purpose of committing theft. So if such an act happens, if such a contingency happens against, it has been provided for. The punishment is again the same as that of the previous sections, 10 years and shall also be liable to fine. When mischief committed after preparation made for causing death or hurt. So if mischief is committed after preparation made for causing death or hurt, shall be punishable with an imprisonment which extends to 5 years and shall also be liable to fine. So this is also a peculiar circumstance that has been taken into consideration by the legislature while and a specific provision has been enacted. This is, of course, if something is done with an intention of causing death or hurt, then that would be a separate offense and this would be an additional offense. So if two punishments are provided for, or if two punishments are awarded under two separate provisions, then it would be the discretion of the magistrate as to whether those punishments are to run concurrently or whether they are to run independently. So when it is seen from that perspective, this provision makes sense. So that is pretty much it for this particular video. I hope you liked it. If you found it useful, kindly give it a big thumbs up, kindly share it with your friends and subscribe to this channel for more such content. Again, I would like to remind you that I've left some useful links in the description section of this video, so kindly do check them out if you're interested. Until next time, this is PP saying bye.